Hi everyone, I'm Jim Womack, and I am running to be your state party chairman of the Republican Party. Now, quick show of hands, how many people in here are satisfied with the outcomes of the governor's race, the attorney general's race, and the Supreme Court race last fall? We got one. Okay, well let me tell you something, I'm not satisfied with that. In 4 years at West Point, and in 20 years in the U.S. Army, one thing that was ingrained in me is that total focus on bringing victory. And if you don't do your job, you're held accountable for what you failed to do. And that is the message that I'm going to leave with you tonight, is that under my watch as the NCGOP chairman, we won't lose pivotal, absolutely essential races like the governor's race, the race, and the attorney general's race. The travesty that was caused by those losses last year will be felt for 6 more years. We have lost the state Supreme Court for 6 years, which means they will undermine everything that the North Carolina General Assembly is about to do for the next 6 years. It will end up in the court system. It's going to be challenged because that's what our opponents do. Our adversaries are not us. Our adversaries are the Democrat Party and the liberals and progressives that comprise that. We should never lose sight of that. Folks, I'm a military leader. I spent 20 years in the combat arms. I can tell you that we are at war with the Democrats. And allowing business as usual to continue will not win that war. It won't even win the campaign. In order to be successful in this party, we have to have leadership from the top that's transparent, and it isn't currently, that is committed to getting to every county and every precinct and making sure every one of them is organized as our plan of organization requires, and it will not stop until, it will not sleep easy until we have every precinct and county organized and capable of winning future elections. Now I will talk to you a little bit about the governance. The state party today is dysfunctional, and I don't mind telling you that. The rank and file of the party is strong. We've lost a lot of good Tea Party patriots that have been disaffected with the party and become unaffiliated or become uninvolved. But I will tell you, I can bring those people back. I'm in contact with them. They really want to come back to the party, and they're waiting for a change in leadership to make that happen. We've got to change the governance of this party. We have to make this party responsible back to the people. We don't do that when we hide behind the veil of secrecy that we have today in the non-disclosure agreement with the Central Committee. We don't do that when Robin, as the chairman, fails to convene the executive committee every quarter as is required by our plan of organization. It makes me mad as a member of the executive committee to not be able to meet except for one time during the year, and that was to throw out the chairman. One time in 1 year we met as the executive committee, and that was to throw out the chairman. We are the governing body of this party. And we're not being allowed to govern the party because the Central Committee and the inside politics that's played at the Central Committee level has prevented the rank and file from having their voice. That will not happen under my watch. We will make this party transparent. We will make this party responsible back to the rank and file Republicans who labor endlessly, day after day, to elect candidates at that level and at our level. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. You know, backslapping country club types are not what makes this party successful. What makes this party successful are the rank and file people where the rubber hits the road, down at the lowest levels. I will go see those people. I will welcome those people into the party. I will make them feel like they're heard in Raleigh at the NCGOP. We've got to do that. Otherwise, we're going to lose this party. Folks, on the trajectory that we're on right now, we will be the 3rd block of voters in the state by October 27th. We are losing ground to the unaffiliated. It's more convenient in this state for people to be unaffiliated than to be a Republican. They're either leaving this party or joining the unaffiliated, and by October 27th on this current timeline, we will be the 3rd largest bloc behind the Democrats and unaffiliated. That's not growing the party. We can do better. We can turn this around, but we have to turn it around by making their voices heard. We don't leave people behind, okay? We bring them with us when we go forward. That's what we need to do in this party. That's what I will do as your chairman. Now, I will tell you, I'm not a divisive guy. I'm a team player. And I believe in everyone, hearing everyone's voice, whether they're Cruz voters or Trump voters, whether they're Ron Paul libertarians, or whether they're constitutionalists. We're going to bring them all together, and we're going to go forward. We don't have to agree on everything, but we're going to agree on one thing, and that is winning elections. Raising the necessary money to sustain the headquarters, winning elections, and that's at every level. from county all the way up to state. Look, I'm Jim Womack. I'm running for state party chairman. I would appreciate you going to convention in June the 2nd through the 4th and voting for me as your next chairman. I would also ask you, if any of you are interested in my position papers, I've got 11 of them out now. I've got them all here with me tonight. I would love to share those with you. I have buttons and t-shirts, polo shirts if you'd like to wear one at convention. I welcome you to the team, Team Womack, and let's revive the party. Thank you. Let me tell you why I disagree. First off, one of the functions of the state GOP chairman is to be an advisor, political advisor. Now, it doesn't say that in the plan of organization, just like it doesn't talk about fundraising in the plan. But I can assure you that one thing that I would do when we put Dan Forrest in the governor's race in 2020.
What are you going to do if other people decide?
As I was saying, there are a lot of opinions about why Governor McCrory lost the race. And certainly, a lot of us would have done things differently than he did. But one of the things I think I would do differently than what Robin did is I would be, I think, a more trusted advisor, spending more time trying to help the governor understand where the hearts and minds of the party are. I think the governor did not get the best advice for his campaign. Now, he did move a lot of money through the party, but I don't think there was any advice that was really exchanged back and forth. I think the attitude was, we'll do whatever the governor wants. He's smarter than we are. Well, I don't think that's the smartest thing to do. I think you need to be a political advisor to the governor as well. Chairman of the state party has a lot of contacts all throughout the state, can be a very effective political advisor. Second thing is, on the Supreme Court race, I mean, the party did very little, really, to help Judge Edmonds. We didn't even educate all the voters in the state about where he was on the ballot. I mean, there were counties like mine that were Democrat-controlled counties where he won convincingly. There were counties that were Republican counties where he lost because people didn't even know where he was on the ballot. There were simple ideas that some counties were using that we could have shared all over the state, but we don't do that at the central level. We just don't do that at the state. We don't, heck, we can't even keep our website updated. You know, for the longest time, David Lewis is still, for the last year, David Lewis has been our national committee man, when Mark Brody is actually our national committee man. Those kinds of things are essential. You have to be, and they're fundamental. You have to share that information down to the lowest level and make sure people are informed and educated about those races. So I would just say there are a lot of things I would do differently than what's been done in the past. And I think we would win those races. The Attorney General's race was pretty close. We could have put him over the top with the proper education and support. I could have done better at that than he did. So I disagree, I think, though, on the notion that we had to assume that we're going to lose those races and the rest of the state went better.
And when it gets down to 1 minute, I'll hold a finger in.
Okay, so as an IT professional for the last 12 or so years, I can tell you that we are in the 1980s vintage with what we do in communications these days. Sure, a lot of us have Facebook pages, and we use that effectively. Some of us actually tweet from time to time. But there are 21st century technologies that we can tap to make this party truly a pace setter in the nation. We have the ability to do social media and digital communications in such a way that every county and every precinct has instant contact with the state party and can be better educated than what we're doing today. I mean, we struggle to keep our website updated today. We can do so much better. I'll give you another example. Charles Hillwig's a great example of this. What Charles is doing in Wake County right now by merging I-360 data and other data in there so they can build walk plans and walk books within that should be done in every county in this state, and we can do that. We can have the state, and we had a technology committee survey doing this 2 years ago, nothing happened with it. I can tell you folks, we can bring that technology to the state, push it down to the local levels so everyone can be self-reliant with quality data that includes walk plan data, phone data, emails. They can even know the values of the voters when they're going to knock on the door. What size families they have, that sort of thing. We can empower them to actually organize and make effective precincts. We need to do that at the state level, not make the counties have to pay for it themselves, but do that as a state initiative, and then push it down so that they can subscribe to that data and use 21st century technology to their advantage. The Democrats are doing it today. We should be on top of it.
Now, my question has to do with primaries. It has to do with primaries. We happen to be third in Wake County. The Republicans are third in this county. And I think the reason it's already been spoken to, some people just got disgusted with Republicans. I'm of the opinion that we should not allow open primaries. I'd like your opinions on that, please.
Jim, 2 minutes.
Okay, so, no, go ahead. I'll let Robin go first. Robin has to talk. That's fine.
I said Jim.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so Personally, I'm in favor of closed primaries. That's my personal, yeah, I do, because I think Republicans should pick Republicans. I believe that conservatives should pick conservatives. Now there are a lot of people that left the party that feel very strongly about this. I've been having a social media conversation back and forth over the last week about this very subject. I will tell you, it's a contentious subject, and I'm listening. I'm listening to everyone in the state to see what pros and cons they want to weigh. Now, I wrote the 6th District resolution to close the primaries. It passed the 6th District last Saturday. It will be heard at the state convention if Robin and his crew don't suppress the resolutions. If they'll allow us to bring the resolutions to the floor, I think the party needs to decide that. And now, I'm personally in favor of it because I think that that's the way to bring people back into the party. I think some of these disaffected unaffiliateds are ones that are really wanting to weigh in on the Republican primary but don't want to be Republicans right now. I want to encourage them to come back. Come on in, folks. The water's warm. And I think that we can actually win with closed primaries.
If you could be very specific on what the plan you would execute to re-elect Justice Barbara Jackson to the Supreme Court when she comes up in 2018. I think that's a great way of talking about specifics and a specific race and your exact, I mean, obviously you can't give away campaign secrets, but what can we do to make sure that Justice Jackson gets re-elected?
Let me do this in 2 parts. First, I want to respond to what he just said about not being hard. It's been very hard for the last three conventions to try to get anything done because the way it's set up. It's set up so that you can't get discussion, you can't get action taken. What I would do differently as a chairman is I would have year-round committees revising the plan of organization, adjusting the platform, and forming resolutions. That way, everyone's had a chance to vet and discuss these things over the course of a year. They're not trying to compress it all into one little short time period at a convention where you can't get anything done and everybody gets frustrated. So that's the way I would do it differently. I would make sure that everyone had a chance to participate through the year, and then we're giving up and down votes at the convention. Then we get through our business more effectively, and everybody can have a lot more fun at convention. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is Barbara Jackson, because what he just said isn't going to get the job done. Folks, we don't have a lot on the ballot in 2018. There's not a lot on the ballot that's going to draw people out. We've got to get out the vote. And the way to get out the vote is empowering the precincts and the counties to know what doors to go knock on, who to target, who to get active in the party, and then we've got to do better at educating the voters with flyers that show Barbara Jackson's voting record when she's been on the court. We've got to be better at educating the voters and then making sure they know where the R is on the ballot. They will see that on the ballot, and we make sure that they vote for her.
Okay,
Good. Well, I'm very humbled by the fact that Robin's going to give me opportunities to work for the party. I don't think I'll have to take him up on that because I do believe I'm going to win this race. And I'll tell you why I believe I'm going to win this race. Because I am all about the base. I am all about the base. You've heard that song?
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you, that's my theme song, folks. We're going to win this race. We're going to win it because of people like you. You're going to help change the leadership. You're going to change the governance. You're going to change the way this party operates. So we're more inclusive as a party, less country club-like at the top. We're going to eliminate that veil of secrecy, that non-disclosure agreement. We're going to make the Central Committee and the Executive Committee accountable for the work they're required to do. And we're going to be about getting organized and effective precincts, which is what the plan of organization calls for. We're going to empower every county in this state to elect local, state, and national leaders that we can be proud of as conservatives. I'm going to lead that effort just like I led soldiers in combat, because that's what we're at, folks. We're in combat. I'm not at war with Robin. I'm at war with the Democrats, okay? That's how we're going to win. Thank you so much.